Hello everyone, welcome to Anime Dreams, the place where stories go beyond the screen and imagination takes the lead. Today, we're diving into an original fanfic journey titled, Tangled Flames, a Naruko Uchiha story, a tale where legacy, power, and destiny collide in unexpected ways. Disclaimer, the content on this channel is created purely for entertainment and discussion. I do not own any of the anime footage featured in my videos. All rights and credit belong to their respective creators and copyright holders. Let's begin this adventure. 12 years ago. It was a quiet night in the forest just beyond the Hidden Leaf village. The moon glowed softly above, and the trees swayed gently in the wind. Although the night appeared calm at first, distant rumblings and echoes of struggle told a different story. A powerful creature had appeared, and the village was doing its best to stay safe. A Chonin was hurrying toward the village, guiding a young girl away from the danger. "We need to get you somewhere safe near the Hokage's monument," he urged, helping her along the path. "But my parents are still back there," cried the girl, who was none other than a young Iruka Umino. Despite her protests, the Chonin remained firm, making sure she was led to safety. Around them, distant cries of concern filled the air, while flickers of fire cast strange shadows over the village buildings. High above the battle, a bright cloud of smoke appeared. From it emerged the fourth Hokage, standing atop Gamabunta, the chief toad. The Hokage, with his flowing blonde hair and iconic white coat marked fourth Hokage, looked solemn. He gave Gamabunta his instructions, quickly summoned two more great toads, and vanished in a flash of golden light using his unique teleportation technique. As the battle continued, the ninja of the leaf united with determination. One of them called out, "Support the toads. Give it everything you've got." Elemental techniques lit the night sky as they worked together in harmony. Moments later, the fourth Hokage reappeared beside his trusted friends, Fugaku and Mikoto Uchiha. Mikoto, despite being tired from a recent delivery, was once again bringing a child into the world. Sweat beaded her forehead as she focused with strength and courage. Minato looked at them with sincere empathy. "I wish this wasn't necessary," he said softly. "Kushina and I tried our best, but we couldn't stop the Kyuubi from being released." Fugaku gently reassured him, "We understand. We trust you, Minato. We know this child will be safe with you for now, and when the time is right, we'll welcome her back into our family with open arms." Mikoto, exhausted but determined, gave birth to a beautiful baby with striking dark hair and rare emerald green eyes. Mikoto held her daughter gently, marveling at the uniqueness of her features and already sensing the potential in her. After a silent exchange of understanding with Mikoto, Minato lifted the baby girl into his arms and, with a soft flash of light, disappeared. In a calm and prepared tent, Minato carefully placed the infant in a crib. She stirred and whimpered gently, longing for warmth and comfort. Minato gave instructions to the nearby Onbu guard to ensure she was watched over carefully, and then once again vanished to rejoin the ongoing efforts to protect the village. Back at the front lines, only Gamabunta remained battling the great fox, holding strong despite his fatigue. Minato reappeared beside him and prepared his most powerful techniques with the help of two shadow clones. Together, they summoned a vast wind-based technique, which cut through the air with incredible force. With one final seal, Minato performed a powerful sealing technique. A spiritual figure appeared, responding to Minato's intent to seal away the creature's energy safely. It asked for a vessel, and Minato led the figure back to the tent where the baby rested. The sealing was completed quickly, and Minato made sure the infant remained calm within a protective barrier. Once done, he entrusted the rest to those he cared about and returned to the spirit peacefully, his final duty fulfilled. When Mikoto awoke, she found an Onbu at the door holding the cradle. Fugaku stood beside him, looking serious but calm. As Mikoto reached for her daughter, the Onbu gently handed the child to her and also delivered a letter. "This is from the fourth Hokage. He wished for you both to read it together," the Onbu explained before respectfully taking his leave. Inside the letter, Minato had written, "Dear Mikoto and Fugaku. If you are reading this, then it means the great responsibility of protecting the village has now been passed on. I am deeply grateful for your trust and support. I have 3 requests and something important to share. First, I ask that you name her Naruko. The name comes from a story written by my mentor, Jiraiya, about a young hero who never gives up and works toward peace. I believe Naruko will grow into her name and become someone truly inspiring. Second, when the time feels right, please explain to Naruko the special responsibility she carries. She may face misunderstanding, but let her know that she is a protector, her strength will keep others safe, and that is something to be proud of. Third, I ask that you teach Naruko the Rasengan, my favorite technique. If she shows interest, I would be honored if my sensei could help guide her further. I know how Jiraiya can be, but with your guidance, I'm confident she'll stay on the right path. Lastly, there is something important. I have reason to believe that a powerful figure once known as Madara is still active. It's uncertain what his goals are, but please stay alert and look out for one another. With deepest respect and friendship. Minato Namikaze. Mikoto looked up from the letter, her eyes wide with concern and realization. Fugaku gave her a reassuring nod. Let's rest. We have 2 children to raise now. With the newborns Naruko and Sasuke sleeping peacefully nearby, the Uchiha parents finally allowed themselves a moment of calm. They knew the road ahead would be long, but together, they would ensure both children grew up strong and guided by love. As the sun rose over the Hidden Leaf village the next morning, cries from the infants stirred their parents awake. Mikoto picked up Sasuke while Fugaku cradled Naruko. They smiled at one another, already imagining the journey ahead, one filled with training, care, and the bonds of family. Naruko woke up slowly, blinking as sunlight peeked through her window. She sat up and looked around her room, which was simple and tidy, just a bed and a desk placed against the wall. Stretching, she got up and made her way to the bathroom to begin her morning routine. The moment she turned on the shower, icy water hit her. Sasuke. Why is the water so cold? She called out loud enough for her friend to hear from down the hall. Over the last 7 years, the two had grown quite close. I don't know, Naruko. I haven't even showered yet. Sasuke called back, gathering his clothes and neatly stacking what he needed for the day near his door. Naruko finished up, shivering a little, and joined the rest of the family in the dining room. Everyone except Sasuke was already seated. Good morning. What's for breakfast? She asked cheerfully. We've got some bacon and eggs, or you can fix something yourself, her mother replied with a smile. Naruko helped herself and joined in the family's light-hearted conversation. Just as everyone was finishing up, Fugaku, their father, stood and announced, after breakfast, I'll be teaching you both a new fire-style technique. The twins could barely contain their excitement. After cleaning up, they followed Fugaku down to the dock where he began their lesson on fire-style, fireball jutsu. First, I'll show you the hand signs. Pay close attention. Once you've memorized them, try to focus your breath. Inhale as you form the signs. When you exhale, say the words, fire style, fireball jutsu. Got it? Both nodded eagerly and got to work. Their first few attempts were clumsy, but after a few tries, Naruko exhaled and a small fireball emerged. That was amazing. She beamed, proud of the progress she was making. Well done, Naruko, Fugaku praised. Sasuke managed to succeed shortly afterward, and Fugaku encouraged them both. Over the following months, the two trained diligently. Eventually, they learned to adjust the size and intensity of the fireball. Impressed with their growth, Fugaku began teaching them fire style, fire dragon jutsu and fire style, phoenix flower jutsu. They practiced every day. It wasn't just ninjutsu they worked on. With Itachi's guidance, their older brother figure, they trained in taijutsu and weapon accuracy, even wearing weighted gear to build stamina. Weekends were for rest and recovery, which they looked forward to. When their birthday finally arrived, October 10th, they jumped out of bed excitedly and ran downstairs. What's the rush, you two? Mikoto asked as she saw them bolt toward the door. Today's our birthday. We're finally 8, they shouted in unison. Of course I remember, she laughed. Come eat your breakfast. They all gathered around the table, where a large cake waited for them. Is this all for us? Naruko asked in awe. Of course, said Itachi as he handed them each a slice. After enjoying their special breakfast, Fugaku asked Naruko to speak with him privately. Do you know why we've asked you not to leave the Uchiha compound without us? He asked once they were in his room. Naruko shook her head. No, not really. There's something inside you, something powerful that once caused a lot of trouble. The villagers don't know the full story, but they might treat you unfairly because of it. I want you to try something, meditate. Try to connect with your inner self, and you might learn more. Though confused, Naruko nodded and sat down, attempting to focus. At first, she felt nothing but a headache. On her second try, she found herself standing in a dark tunnel with water on the ground. Following it, she reached a large cage and heard a low growl. Inside was a massive red fox with 9 flowing tails. It stared at her with glowing eyes. Why are you here, Uchiha? The creature asked sternly. This is my mindscape, so I think I belong here. But I want to understand, why are you here? She asked calmly. I was sealed here 8 years ago. I wasn't acting on my own back then. Someone used powerful abilities to control me. I was happy before, sealed inside a kind woman named Kushina. So you didn't mean to cause trouble? Naruko asked, surprised. No. I was manipulated. A man named Madara Uchiha used his powers to control me. That's why I have mixed feelings about your clan. Naruko listened quietly, then said, I should talk to my father. I'll be back. She returned to the real world and went to see Fugaku. Dad, I spoke with the fox spirit. He told me about what happened years ago. He said someone forced him to act, and it wasn't his choice. You really talked to him? Fugaku asked, clearly surprised. He said someone named Madara used some kind of special eyes to take control of him. Who was Madara? Fugaku sighed. Madara Uchiha was one of the strongest Uchiha in history. If he was involved, we have much to consider. But I told you this because I believe you deserve to know the truth, especially before you start at the academy. Thanks for trusting me, Naruko said, feeling reassured. She closed her eyes again and returned to her mindscape. The fox was waiting. I heard what you and your father talked about, he said. He's a wise man. And I've decided not all Uchiha are the same. I want to teach you how to use your Sharingan, but I have rules. What are they? Naruko asked. 1. Don't copy techniques without working for them. 2. Never use your eyes against me. 3. Stay humble. As for how I could affect your abilities. Let's just say I have a special connection to them. Come here. He gently placed a claw over her eyes. When Naruko opened them, her eyes were crimson, with one black tomoe in each. Now go back, your father is waiting, the fox said kindly. Naruko returned, and Fugaku gasped at the sight of her activated Sharingan. Did the fox give you this? He asked. Yeah. Isn't it great? Naruko said, beaming. Later, the fox asked Naruko to learn the shadow clone jutsu so it could communicate with Fugaku directly. Fugaku reluctantly demonstrated, and Naruko copied it. After a few attempts, she successfully created a clone. When she infused the clone with the fox's energy, it transformed into a black-haired version of the fourth Hokage. Fugaku was stunned. I look like this because of the sealing technique used years ago, the fox, now appearing human, explained. I need to speak with your father, Naruko. You can go train with Sasuke. Naruko nodded and left the room. Sasuke, want to spar? She asked. Sure, let's go, he agreed. At the training grounds, they faced each other and bowed respectfully. Sasuke began with Phoenix Flower Jutsu, shooting several small fireballs. Naruko dodged, responding with her fireball jutsu, and they went back and forth until Sasuke landed a hit. Itachi stepped in. Alright, that's enough. You two are siblings, no need to go too far. Let's get you cleaned up. Back home, Mikoto gave them a look of concern. What have you two been doing? Just a little sparring. Sorry, Naruko replied sheepishly. She healed them with her medical jutsu and sent them to rest. When Naruko returned to her room, she found the clone waiting. Let's talk in the mindscape, he said. But before that, I need a new name. If people hear you calling me Kyuubi, it might cause problems. Naruko thought for a moment. How about Minabi? I like it. Now let's continue this talk inside, he agreed. In the mindscape, Minabi shared that Fugaku wanted Naruko and Sasuke to each master a special jutsu, one that suited them uniquely. When you start the academy tomorrow, I'll tell you more, he said. Naruko nodded, already wondering what new adventures and techniques awaited her in the days to come. Naruko woke up the next morning, filled with excitement for her first day at the academy. She got up, took a shower, brushed her teeth, and headed downstairs for breakfast. Took you long enough, little sister, Sasuke said as she walked into the dining room. Hey, only by like 10 minutes, Naruko replied with a smile. Sit down and eat, you're going to be late, Mikoto reminded them gently. Okay, Naruko said, and the two of them sat down to eat. After they finished, they gathered everything they would need for their first day, said goodbye to their parents, and left for the academy. They walked for about 15 minutes before reaching the gates of the Uchiha compound. As soon as they stepped outside, Naruko noticed something. Villagers were looking at her strangely. Their expressions were cold and unwelcoming. Naruko felt a tightness in her chest, but then she remembered what her father told her the day before, to be strong and keep her head held high. So she did, hoping that things would get better in time. They walked a bit more, chatting lightly about what their first day might be like. As they made their way down the busy streets, they noticed rows of shops, selling everything from ninja tools to clothing to snacks. A delicious smell wafted from a small eatery at the corner called Ichiraku Ramen. "Hey Sasuke, let's go there for lunch," Naruko said, pointing to the shop. "Okay, it smells really good," Sasuke agreed. Soon, they reached the academy. They stood at the gate for a moment, admiring the impressive building before stepping inside. They found their teacher, Iruka Umino, who gave Naruko a curious look. But when she greeted him with a cheerful hello, his face softened into a smile, and he led them both into the classroom. "Good morning, class. Today we have 2 new students, Naruko and Sasuke Uchiha. Please welcome them," Iruka said. The class greeted them in return, and the twins looked for a place to sit. Iruka told them they could sit wherever they liked, so Naruko chose a spot next to a girl she thought looked very kind. The girl had short bluish-black hair and wore a loose tan hoodie with blue shorts. Sasuke looked around and chose to sit alone in the back. Iruka then began a lesson on the history of the Hidden Leaf Village. Every now and then, he would ask questions, and the class would eagerly try to answer. Naruko discovered from the class roll that the girl next to her was named Hinata, but she was too focused on taking notes to really talk. She didn't even notice Hinata blushing slightly as she glanced Naruko's way. When lunchtime came, Naruko and Sasuke went straight to Ichiraku Ramen as they had planned. The shop owner welcomed them warmly. "What can I get you to?" he asked kindly. Naruko studied the menu and chose miso pork ramen, while Sasuke picked chicken ramen. Naruko took one bite and instantly knew this would be her favorite spot. "What's your name, sir?" she asked the shop owner. "It's Tucci, and this is my daughter Ayame," he replied, nodding toward the smiling young woman beside him. "I'm definitely coming back here." "That was amazing," Naruko said enthusiastically as they finished their meal. They thanked Tucci and Ayame and returned to class. The rest of the day passed quickly. Iruka continued teaching from the textbook and asked small questions to make sure everyone understood. Naruko thought Iruka was a great teacher, he made learning interesting and was always patient. At the end of class, Iruka made an announcement. "Tomorrow, we'll begin learning about different tools used by ninja." As the students began to leave, Iruka called out to Naruko. "Hey Naruko, how come I've never seen you before today?" "I've never really left the Uchiha compound before now, so that's probably why," she answered politely. "But why?" Iruka asked, surprised. "My father wanted to keep me safe from the villagers until I was old enough to understand their feelings," she replied. "Oh, I see," Iruka said thoughtfully, and Naruko gave a polite smile before leaving for home. When she got home, Naruko went straight to her room and sat on her bed. Closing her eyes, she entered her mindscape to continue her conversation with Minabe, the guardian spirit that lived within her. "Hello, little one. How was your first day?" Minabe asked warmly as Naruko appeared in the mindscape. "It was really nice. I even got to sit by a girl I think is super kind," Naruko said with a grin. "That's wonderful. Now, I know what you're going to ask, and no, I can't reveal too much about the future techniques you'll learn. But your father did say I could teach you one fire-style jutsu. It's a very old and special technique, fire-style, flame dragon bomb. But we need a safe, open space to train far from any buildings. Go ask your father about it." Excited, Naruko ran downstairs and asked her father. "There's a place called Training Ground 44, but you'll need to wait until Friday because of school," he said. "You'll also need to take Itachi and Sasuke with you, it's a little wild out there. I'll tell them you're going on a camping trip." The rest of the week flew by. On Tuesday, they learned about ninja tools like shuriken and kunai. On Wednesday, they studied ninjutsu. Iruka was impressed when Naruko and Sasuke demonstrated a few techniques and asked them to do a friendly sparring match. They bowed to each other respectfully. Minabe had taught Naruko the beginning steps to the flame dragon technique the night before. Using shadow clone jutsu, she created 3 clones to distract Sasuke. While he handled the clones, she formed hand signs. "Fire style, fire dragon jutsu," Naruko called, releasing a stream of fire in the shape of a dragon. Sasuke dodged and quickly used Phoenix Flower Jutsu with just 2 hand signs. Naruko was preparing another move, but Iruka gently interrupted. "That's enough, you two. Wonderful match. Some older ninja can't even do what you just did. You should be proud," he said. "Alright class, that's ninjutsu. Tomorrow, we'll begin learning about genjutsu, illusion techniques." The next day, they studied genjutsu, and though most students were new to the concept, Iruka used a harmless example to demonstrate its effects. The students were surprised but learned a lot. Finally, Friday arrived. After breakfast, Naruko rushed to school. That day, they focused on taijutsu, or hand-to-hand combat. Iruka paired them up to spar. Naruko's partner was a cheerful boy named Choji. She won the match, but kindly helped him up and told him it was a great effort. They spent the rest of the class talking with Shikamaru, who was quiet but clever. After school, the group gathered their gear and met Itachi. He led them to Training Ground 44. The journey took half a day, and when they reached the towering trees of the forest, Sasuke and Naruko stared in amazement. "This place is huge," they exclaimed. "Yeah, it's officially called Training Ground 44, but some people nicknamed it something else," Itachi said. "Why do they call it that?" they asked curiously. "You'll see once we're inside," he replied with a calm smile as he opened the gate. They walked inside the wild forest, keeping close together. As it got darker, they set up camp and collected firewood. Once the campfire was going, they waited while Itachi went to gather food. Sitting by the fire, Sasuke looked at his sister. "Naruko, why do the villagers look at you like that?" Naruko looked into the flames, thoughtful. "I'm not completely sure, but father told me that some things happened a long time ago that made people afraid. He said it's not my fault and that I should just keep doing my best, no matter what." Sasuke nodded. "Well, I think you're awesome." Naruko smiled brightly. "Thanks, Sasuke." Itachi sat down beside the twins while they waited for their food to cook. "Naruko, you look like you've got something on your mind. What's going on?" he asked his younger sister, who seemed deep in thought. "Brother, do you want to know the real reason we're out here? You've probably figured out by now that there's more to this trip than just camping," Naruko said, and Itachi nodded quietly. "Well, before I can explain everything, there's something important I need to share, a secret, actually." Naruko took a breath and then began telling them everything she knew about Minabe, the guardian spirit sealed within her. She also explained why they were in the forest. Sasuke felt a bit left out at first because Naruko was learning something new while he wasn't, but Itachi reassured him. "I'll help you unlock your Sharingan soon," he said with a confident smile, which put Sasuke at ease. Once the food was ready, they all shared a meal and then settled in for the night. After everyone had gone to bed, Itachi carefully stored any remaining food in a sealing scroll, so it would stay fresh for later. He then used the shadow clone technique to create a watchful version of himself to keep guard overnight before turning in. The night passed peacefully. The next morning, Itachi woke early, dismissed his clone, and walked to the others' tent to wake them up. They were quick to rise, and soon they gathered around the campfire. Naruko then used the shadow clone jutsu, allowing Minabe to emerge. Itachi was so surprised he fell out of his chair, landing squarely on Sasuke's foot. "Hey! Watch it!" Sasuke groaned. Itachi looked up, stunned. "Naruko, who is this, and where did you learn that technique?" "My dad taught me, and this is Minabe," Naruko replied casually. Minabe flashed a foxy grin. "Yes, I'm the guardian spirit within her, the one everyone whispers about. But don't worry, I'm on your side. Now, little one, let's go. It's time for your next lesson. Oh, and Itachi, I might be able to help with that little eye issue of yours. We'll talk later." Minabe walked deeper into the clearing, and Naruko followed. Once Itachi got over the surprise, he motioned for Sasuke to come with him in the opposite direction. When they reached a quiet spot, Itachi pulled out a scroll. "What's that, brother?" Sasuke asked, noticing the many identical symbols. "This is a special sealing scroll filled with tools. Today, we're using shuriken." He tapped one of the seals, and a set of weapons appeared. Meanwhile, Minabe was working with Naruko. "Okay, Naruko, I want you to summon 50 clones. They'll help train while we practice." "But if I'm not the one doing the jutsu, how will I learn anything?" she asked. "I'll show you. Create one clone." Naruko did. "Now, send the clone to look behind me." The clone saw Minabe holding a shuriken. "Dispel it," he instructed. When she did, Naruko's eyes widened. "You were holding a shuriken. So the memories come back to me," she said in amazement. "Exactly. You can use this to speed up your training. Just remember, your physical strength and stamina must be trained directly. But things like knowledge, memory, and chakra control? Your clones can help." Naruko nodded excitedly. "Can I test my limits? I want to try something." "Go ahead," Minabe said. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. She called, and 300 clones appeared. She was breathing heavily but still standing. 350. That's about my limit right now, she said thoughtfully. Since I have a large chakra reserve, I want to use this to improve my control. I've heard people with lots of chakra sometimes struggle with fine control. Minabe raised an eyebrow, impressed. You're absolutely right. That's a smart approach. All right, let's do this. He pointed to a tall tree. I want all 300 clones to practice walking up that tree using just their feet. Naruko watched as Minabe demonstrated the chakra control technique. Wow. So that's how the older ninja do it, she said. Exactly. Now, have the clones dispel in groups. That way you can absorb their experience gradually and safely. She relayed the instructions to her clones, who scattered to begin training. Minabe continued. Now, from the first group of 50, divide them in half. One half will practice enhancing the fire dragon jutsu. The other will start working on a wind technique called wind style, air bullet. I want it strong enough to pierce stone. He showed them the hand signs and gave instructions. Once they got started, Minabe turned to Naruko. Now, Naruko, come at me with everything you've got. Naruko grabbed a kunai and charged forward. Though she moved quickly, Minabe easily stepped aside and countered with a few well-aimed shuriken. She dodged just in time. Before she could react again, Minabe used a movement technique to reappear behind her. You let your guard down, he said calmly, tapping her back just hard enough to knock her off balance. Naruko stumbled and glared back. Hey, I thought we were sparring. We are, but I'm preparing you for situations where focus is key. You need to stay alert at all times. Naruko sighed but nodded, understanding. Now, time for physical training, 20 push-ups, sit-ups, squats, and leg kicks. Then 3 laps around the clearing. Naruko groaned playfully but started the routine while Minabe watched from a tree. Elsewhere, Sasuke's training continued. You're improving fast, Sasuke. Let's try unlocking your second Tomoe, Itachi encouraged while tossing practice tools his way. Sasuke blocked most, missed a few, and ended up with a few scrapes. Still, his eyes showed progress. Itachi smiled. Let's take a break. You've earned it. Sasuke dropped to the ground, panting. Finally. Itachi handed him a scroll. This is for you and Naruko. You'll understand more each time your Sharingan evolves. Only part of it will be readable now. Sasuke unrolled the scroll and read. Sasuke, if you're reading this, congratulations on unlocking the Sharingan. With one Tomoe, you'll begin to see the world more clearly. Movements may feel slower, and you'll start noticing chakra and small details. As your eyes evolve, the scroll will reveal more. But remember, our clan has a legacy of emotional struggle. True strength isn't only in your eyes, but in your heart. Always choose understanding over resentment. Sasuke looked at his brother with wide eyes. Why do you seem sad? Just remembering things, Itachi replied with a soft smile. Let's eat and continue later. Back with Naruko. She threw a kunai at the tree where Minabe had dozed off. Hey! I'm finished with the training. Thought I'd wake you up, she said, giggling. Minabe jumped down. Alright, let's see how the clones did. At the fire-style training area, a clone demonstrated the improved jutsu. A white-hot flame in the shape of a dragon soared into the air, gently lighting up the area with its warmth. Naruko beamed. Wow! That looks amazing. Minabe nodded. You're getting there. Now let's check the wind jutsu group. A clone showed a rock that now had a clean hole in the center. Naruko clapped proudly. Awesome work. Now let's finish up with the tree walkers. They arrived to find the clones balancing and sparring effortlessly on the tree trunks. When called down, a clone reported they'd been practicing for 2 hours and had already mastered walking on vertical surfaces. Perfect. Dispel them in groups, slowly, Minabe instructed. Naruko followed the guidance carefully, giving herself time between each batch. Just as she was finishing up, a kunai flew past her and stuck into a tree. She looked up to see Itachi and Sasuke approaching with smiles, and their Sharingan active. Looks like Sasuke unlocked the second stage, Naruko said to herself. I need to keep up, but I'll talk to Minabe about placing a genjutsu on mine. I don't want Sasuke to feel left behind. Training went well? She asked aloud. It was intense, Sasuke said with excitement. Dodging nonstop. But I made it. You'll see what I've been working on tomorrow, Naruko teased with a grin. Back at camp, Itachi reheated some food. Naruko, bring out Minabe. I want to talk. Minabe entered the tent, and Itachi placed a sound barrier around it. Inside, they spoke quietly. You said you could help with my eye problem. Does that mean? No, Minabe interrupted gently. But I can help you access the next stage safely. Itachi nodded. What do I need to do? Minabe's eyes glowed gold with red tomoe. I'll use a powerful genjutsu. You'll feel like time passes differently, but you'll be back in 20 minutes. Itachi agreed. Understood. As Minabe cast the technique, Itachi's vision shifted into a new world. Outside the tent, Minabe rejoined Naruko and Sasuke. Where's Itachi? They asked. He's training, Minabe said, calmly taking a seat by the fire. Itachi stood atop the Hokage monument, but something felt off. The mountain had 7 carved faces, not the 4 he remembered. He studied the last 3. One was Lady Tsunade, the slug Sanin. The second bore a striking resemblance to his youngest sibling, Naruko. The third was unfamiliar, but Itachi immediately noticed the Sharingan in his eyes. Looking up, Itachi realized the sky had turned an ominous red hue. Searching for the moon, he instead found a massive red Sharingan in the sky, eerily similar to Minabe's, though it lacked the concentric rings. Where am I? He wondered silently. The village looked battered and neglected. Buildings leaned precariously, windows were broken, and nature had begun reclaiming parts of it. A sound to his left caught his attention, and within moments, he was surrounded by unfamiliar shinobi. They wore no headbands, and their movements were unusually synchronized. From the crowd, the third face on the monument approached. Who are you, and what are you doing in my village? The stranger asked firmly. My name is Itachi Uchiha, and I'm originally from this village, Itachi replied, pointing to his old headband. At the mention of his name, one ninja gasped, Itachi Uchiha? I could have sworn you vanished decades ago. During the last great conflict. The leader chuckled darkly, I remember your team, always a challenge. But you're no threat now. Take him. Before Itachi could react, chakra-dampening cuffs were snapped onto his wrists, and he was led away. The stranger gave one last statement. You'll know my name before we continue, Madara Uchiha, the first and strongest of our clan. Welcome to my world. They guided him through a facility marked Information and Tactics Division. Down endless stairs they walked. Itachi counted over 5,000 steps before they reached a dimly lit hallway. They led him to a room filled with strange tools. Despite struggling, he couldn't break free from their firm grasp. The shinobi restrained him onto a table. Itachi winced as his chakra continued to drain. One of the individuals approached with a kunai and dragged its edge across his robe, not injuring, but clearly meant to intimidate. He braced himself as the illusion began affecting his senses. Meanwhile, outside the genjutsu, Minabe observed quietly. It's probably been long enough, he muttered, entering the tent. Inside, he noticed Itachi's condition worsening under the genjutsu's strain. He placed a hand on Itachi's forehead. Riton, he whispered, releasing the illusion. Itachi woke with a sharp gasp. What just happened? Stay calm, you're okay, Minabe said, retrieving first aid materials. He bandaged Itachi carefully. You've been through a powerful mental simulation. A time-space jutsu I rarely use on others. Itachi breathed heavily, still processing. What jutsu was that? It's called Kongo no Shicho Gijutsu. It sends the mind forward through time to a possible future. You saw a world where Madara took control. If my theory is correct, that future doesn't have to become reality. Injuries in that world reflect back here, which is why you're hurting. Itachi nodded slowly, still stunned. Now, Minabe continued, focus your chakra into your eyes. Itachi followed his instruction, and as he opened them, he cried out from the intensity of the chakra surge. His eyes shimmered with a new form. Elsewhere, Naruko and Sasuke were chatting by the campfire after a day of training. Strengthening your eyes is key to mastering the Sharingan, Sasuke explained. Serious sparring helps, and so does reacting to high-speed projectiles. Naruko shivered. That sounds intense. What did Minabe have you do? I had to summon 50 shadow clones, she began. Then I learned how their experiences come back to me after they vanish. It's great for training. Most people can't use them like I can, though. Minabe said I have more chakra than average. Sasuke raised a brow. Why's that? I think it's because Minabe's been sealed inside me for so long, he's unintentionally boosted my chakra over the years. They laughed, talked about academy memories, and discussed what food they missed from home. Back in the tent, Itachi stared at his reflection in a small mirror. My eyes. They're not like before, he whispered. Minabe nodded. You now possess what's known as the Eternal Sage Sharingan. You're the second human ever to awaken it. Itachi blinked in disbelief. Who was the first? I gave it to the Sage of the Six Paths himself, Minabe answered. Itachi absorbed this new knowledge. Are there any rules I should follow with these eyes? They never truly deactivate. Even when they appear dormant, their powers are available. But right now, your abilities are still in the early stage. As you grow, the tomoe will become red, and new abilities will emerge. Avoid experimenting with unfamiliar techniques until you unlock more of the tomoe, at least 6 out of the 32. Minabe promised to provide written guidance and warned him to keep this transformation secret unless Minabe was present. Later that night, the group reconvened. Hey sister, Minabe, how did your talk go? Naruko asked. Itachi smiled gently. Better than I expected. I'll be meeting with father tomorrow, so Minabe will lead your training. Naruko and Sasuke exchanged excited glances. As the others went to sleep, Minabe whispered to Naruko, tomorrow, your training begins. A full body conditioning regimen. It'll become your daily routine, and you'll add to it each month. Naruko frowned in thought, curious and a bit apprehensive. Suddenly, a sound came from outside. She grabbed her kunai and rushed out, joined by Sasuke and Itachi. Forest animals, oddly aggressive, had surrounded their camp. A large tiger growled, a signal to attack. The siblings defended themselves skillfully. Naruko dodged and countered, Sasuke took down multiple spiders, and Itachi provided precise support. Eventually, the tiger gave a final roar, and the creatures retreated. Phew, Naruko said, catching her breath. That was a workout. Oh, Minabe needs 6 blank scrolls, she added. Itachi handed her 8, just in case. Naruko summoned Minabe and passed them over before everyone returned to their tents. The next morning, the 2 students were woken up suddenly. Up and at it, you two. Your day begins now. If you're not outside in 5 minutes, I'll make training twice as hard. Minabe called out. Sasuke and Naruko groaned as they sat up in their beds, rubbing their eyes. Sasuke barely made it out within the 5-minute limit. All right, you two, Minabe said firmly, today I'll be your trainer, and that means you'll address me as sensei. Eat something quickly and meet me at the clearing. Minabe had stayed up most of the night preparing training scrolls based on new abilities for Itachi's advanced Sharingan. There were also scrolls for Sasuke and Naruko, each tailored to their strengths. After a quick meal of leftovers, the two made their way to the clearing. Here's your first scroll, Minabe explained. It has chakra control exercises. By the time you finish at the academy, we'll double your chakra reserves. Start with the tree walking exercise and work your way down the list. There are also elemental exercises, but don't begin those until you reach Genin rank. For now, focus on mastering the 27 core control drills. I expect you to be able to spar on the tree for an hour by the end of today. He continued, if tree walking is too challenging, begin by holding pebbles to your skin using only chakra. Now, look at this scroll. This will be your morning routine from now on. Each month, you'll add half of it to what you already do. I'm giving you resistance seals that you can adjust safely. Start at level 10 and never lower them, except when you're asleep. Choose a place to wear the seal that would be visible to others, so if it's tampered with, you'll know. Naruko chose to place her seal on her left thigh, between her knee and hip, while Sasuke chose the same spot on his right thigh. Your seals will only respond to your chakra, Minabe warned. If someone manages to change them, it could be dangerous. Don't set the resistance above 100 until I say it's safe. Increase it slowly, 10 pounds for the first month, then add 5. He handed them each another scroll. Morning routine. Hold 3 pebbles to your skin with chakra for as long as you can, working up to an hour. Gradually increase the time and the number of pebbles until you can hold 25 for 2 hours. Naruko, use your shadow clones to train faster, but focus on refining your control. Sasuke, don't let Naruko's progress discourage you, use it as motivation to push yourself. Daily physical training. 20 push-ups. 30 sit-ups. 25 squats. 50 punches and 50 kicks with each arm and leg. Run 1 mile. Repeat chakra pebble exercise for half the time. 30 minutes of hand-to-hand sparring without seals. Sunday is rest day. Keep the resistance seals at minimum, 10. After 3 months, you may request a harder regimen. They both read the scroll carefully, then got to work. Naruko summoned 10 clones. Each clone practiced holding a pebble for 10 minutes, then she dismissed them to absorb the experience. Naruko herself held her pebbles for about 30 minutes before they slipped. Sasuke managed to hold his for 10 minutes, tried again, and made it to 15 before moving on. The two then did their physical routine, pacing each other through push-ups, sit-ups, and squats. They were tired but determined, powering through kicks, punches, and finally their run. After finishing, they sat down to rest briefly and repeated the pebble exercise. "All right," Minabe called, "take 10 minutes, then remove your resistance seals. You'll feel a bit lighter. After your break, you'll spar for 30 minutes. Naruko and Sasuke removed the seals and felt the difference in their movements. They faced each other on the training field, bowed, and took ready stances. "Begin," Minabe signaled. Naruko launched first with a high kick toward Sasuke's head. He ducked and countered with a punch, which she blocked. Taking the opportunity, Naruko swept Sasuke off his feet. He hit the ground and let out a breath. "Oof. That was quick," he mumbled. "Back up," Minabe said. "You've still got time left." Sasuke stood and returned to his stance. Naruko rushed in again with a knee aimed at his side. He blocked and countered, landing a punch that made her stumble. She recovered and returned the strike, catching him with a solid kick. Sasuke caught her leg and twisted, but Naruko used the motion to launch another attack. They continued trading techniques in a fast-paced, controlled spar, learning from each move. "Time," Minabe called. Though Sasuke's last punch landed a moment too late, Naruko quickly got back up, smiling through her tiredness. "Well done, both of you. That was impressive teamwork and effort," Minabe said proudly. "Now, Naruko," Minabe continued, "it's time to learn how to combine the two techniques I showed you yesterday. Use them both at half strength. Step back, both of you." Minabe formed quick hand signs, breathing out a stream of flame shaped like a dragon. Before the flames faded, he launched a compressed wind bullet into the center of the fire. The result was a powerful eruption of enhanced flame. "This is fire style, dragon flame bomb," he explained. "It's a collaboration technique. Sasuke will provide the fire dragon, and Naruko, you'll enhance it with your wind bullet. I also want you to master this solo in case you ever need to use it alone." Sasuke started practicing the fire technique, working on size and heat. Minabe instructed him to increase the temperature until he could feel the heat from 20 feet away. Naruko used her clones to pair up and practice with precise timing. Minabe was impressed to see 50 pairs working at once. "Great thinking, Naruko," he said warmly. Elsewhere, Itachi made his way through the village, taking in the enhanced clarity his vision now offered. His new Sharingan allowed him to see chakra networks and nature types more distinctly. Though originally unsure about the new ability, he now looked forward to training with it. Reaching his father's room in the Uchiha district, he knocked. "Come in," Fugaku called. "Itachi," his father greeted him. "Before we talk about serious matters, how is training going?" "They're doing very well," Itachi replied with a smile. "Naruko is learning to use a collaboration jutsu independently, and Sasuke has awakened his second tomoe." Fugaku looked pleased. "Good. I'm glad Minabe has turned out to be a positive influence. But now, to the real reason I asked you here. The clan is becoming unsettled. Some are beginning to feel unfairly treated. There has been talk, serious talk, about acting against the village." Itachi frowned. "Father, we can't allow emotions to cloud our judgment. Dialogue and understanding are the way forward. Please speak to the elders." "I understand your position, Itachi," Fugaku said solemnly. "If anything happens, please look after your siblings. Keep them away from this." "I will," Itachi promised. "But please, reconsider this path." Fugaku's gaze softened. "No matter what happens, I love you. Don't forget that." Later, at a peaceful spot by the waterfall, Itachi met his close friend Shisui. "I know why you're here," Shisui said quietly. "I stand with the village. We must find another way." "You're right," Itachi replied. "Let's take this to the Hokage. We need his guidance." They traveled to the Hokage's office. "Come in," the Hokage said, greeting them with a gentle smile. "Let me guess, this is about the clan? Itachi explained the situation. The Hokage nodded gravely. I had hoped it wouldn't come to this. Your clan is making a difficult choice. But I promised you and your siblings a home here, Itachi. That promise remains. Prepare yourselves. You have 2 weeks to come up with a peaceful solution. I'll support you both. The Hokage's expression was full of pride as he continued, one day, I want you to help guide the village, Itachi. Learn, grow, and when the time comes, lead with wisdom. Itachi nodded. I will, Hokage-sama. As they left, the Hokage asked Shisui to meet with Naruko and Sasuke's group. There'll be someone there you don't recognize, he added. They're an ally. Listen to them. Back at the training grounds, Naruko and Sasuke lay side by side, exhausted but content. Minabe smiled from above. The collaboration jutsu was nearly complete, their teamwork stronger than ever. As they walked back to camp, they found Shisui waiting. Minabe narrowed his eyes, recognizing him but surprised at his arrival. Why are you here? He asked calmly. Shisui handed him a note. Minabe opened it and read. Bring the children to the Hokage's office. Tell Shisui to retrieve Miko and meet us there. Don't be seen. Itachi. Minabe nodded. All right, everyone. We're heading out. Stay quiet, stay hidden. We have important people to meet. Dear YouTube family. That's all for now, thanks for watching and being part of this journey. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more awesome anime content. Your support means the world. Until next time, stay dreamy. Anime Dreams.